Good afternoon, traditions, and this is again Teacher Anna, your learning partner. So, last week we have learned about lesson number 9, and that is about uh, the other branch of the government, that is the legislative. Now, let's go to lesson number 10, and this is about the judicial branch. Okay? So, I hope you have downloaded the PDF file for the module. So that is included in lesson number 9, okay? Yeah, so last week we have learned about the executive branch and the local government. Now let's go to lesson number 10. And this is about the judicial branch. So, let's go to the next slide. So at the end of the lesson, guys, you are expected to first identify the primary functions of the Philippine Judiciary. Second, you are going to understand how the courts in the Philippines are organized. And third, understand the significance of due process and how is this upheld by the courts. So let's go, guys. Let's go to the world of Philippine Judiciary and its functions. So, sino dito ang gusto maging lawyer? Kagaya ko. So, that is our dream. So, let's try to know more about the Philippine Judiciary and its functions. So, this is the Philippine Judiciary, guys. If you see here, we have the Supreme Court, which is led or lead by the head of Chief Justice. Okay? So, and then sa baba ani, we have three courts. We have the Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and the Court of Tax Appeals. Then, next is the regional trial courts and for the Muslim Sharia district courts. So, under the regional trial court, we have the Metropolitan Trial Court. We have the municipal trial courts in cities, municipal trial courts, municipal circuit trial courts, and under sa Sharia district courts is the Sharia circuit courts. So, unsa day ang judicial power? So, let's try to know about it. So, when we say judicial power, rests with the Supreme Court and the lower courts, as established by the law. We have the Republic Act or the Article 8, Section 1 of the 1987 Constitution. So, kasama to sa ating 1987 Constitution. Dito natin mababasa ang judicial power. O ano ba talaga ang kakayahan at power na inclusive to the judicial functions. So, its duty, guys, is to settle actual controversies involving rights which are legally demandable and enforceable. So, the judiciary, guys, enjoys fiscal autonomy. Its appropriation may not be reduced by legislature below the appropriated amount the various year. That is, or we can read that in the Article 8, Section 3. And by virtue of Article 8, Section 8, guys, appointments to the judiciary are made by the President of the Philippines. So, sino ang magtatalaga ng head chief justice? So, ang magtatalaga niyan is the President of the Philippines. And then, mag-base na siya on a list submitted by the Judicial and Bar Council, which is under the supervision of the Supreme Court. Its principal function, guys, is to screen prospective appointees to any judicial post. It is composed of the Chief Justice as officio chairman or the head chairman, and the Secretary of Justice and representatives of Congress as ex officio members, and a representative of the Integrated Bar, and a professor of law, a retired member of the Supreme Court, and a representative of the private sector as members. Okay? So, ang magtatalaga niyan, guys, is our president. So, that's why our president, nagtalaga na po siya bag-o nga Chief Justice or the head of the Chief Justice. And then Secretary of Justice and Representative of Congress. So, nagtalaga na po siya og bag-o nga head. So, if ever guys, you become the President of the Philippines, so you need to know a lot of lawyers and friends or maybe ano, kanang linkages or build linkages with other prospective lawyers nga makatabang sa imuhang termino. So, dapat wise jud kay ka kung mag-presidente in the future. Wala ta kabalo, basing one of you will become the president of the Philippines. So you need to build linkages. You need to know more about people who wants to be the chief justices or maybe lawyers or incoming lawyers that will help you in your administration. So now let's go to the Supreme Court. So ano pala tong Supreme Court, guys? So the Supreme Court, guys, ito yung sa Filipino is what we called kataas-taasang hukuman. Okay? The Supreme Court or in Filipino, the kataas-taasang hukuman. So, colloquially, in colloquial guys or in colloquial words, it is also referred to as the Korte Suprema. Is the highest court in the Philippines. So, mo na siya ang pinakataas nga court in the Philippines. Not basketball court, but for justice court. The Supreme Court was established by the Second Philippine Commission on June 11, 1901 through the enactment of its act. Okay? So, na-establish ni siya, guys, atong June 11, 1901. So, through the enactment. Next, let's go to the next one. So to know more about Supreme Court, so the Supreme Court, guys, is composed of the Chief Justice and 14 Associate Justices. Mo na 15 sila kabuok. Ang isa is the head, the 14 is the Associate Justices. So the Chief Justice, guys, presides over the hearing conducted by the Supreme Court. So siya ang presides over the hearing conducted by the Supreme Court. He or she is also the chair of the Judicial and Bar Council. So siya po ang chair of the Judicial and Bar Council. The justices of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President based on the recommendations of the Judicial and Bar Council. So, magdepende po ni siya sa recommendations sa Judicial and Bar Council. So that's why guys, when you study law, lagi na sila kaugalingon nila nga BOI or board. They also have their own Judicial and Bar Council. So, kuan siya, complex siya, but if you become a law student, you will know more about it in different way. Now, let's go to the Court of Appeals. So, Court of Appeals, guys, kung ang pinaka-first or pinakataas is the Supreme Court, ang next, ana, is the Court of Appeals. So, the second highest court in the country, guys, it exercises appellate jurisdiction over the regional trial court and reviews administrative cases involving the Ombudsman and the Department of Justice and the decisions of government agencies. It also conducts an intermediate review of criminal cases where the penalty is life imprisonment. So, ilaha po nang gina-review ang criminal cases nga ang penalty is life imprisonment or death before they are elevated to the Supreme Court. So, before mo adto sa Supreme Court, mo agi sa Court of Appeals. So, is it really importante nga hatagan siya life imprisonment? Or is it really appropriate or nagid siya due process to give a death penalty? So, it hears appeals from the High Court in civil cases and appeals from the Circuit Criminal Court. So, moagi sa ilahatanan gikan sa civil cases, paingon sa Circuit Criminal Court, the Central Criminal Court, and the Special Criminal Court in criminal cases. It took over the rule of the Court of Criminal Appeal and the Court's Martial Appeal Court, which were abolished. Okay? So, Sa unang panahon naatay Courts Martial Appeal Court, pero karon gi-took over na siya sa Courts of Appeals. Okay? So ilahang trabaho, ilahang rules sa unang panahon gi-absorb sa Court of Appeals. So sila na ang took over sa criminal appeal and then the Courts Martial Appeal Court. Now let's go to the RTC. So we have the Regional Trial Courts, RTC. So mo ni siya nga to ang logo for the RTC. See hello, and it looks like the flag of the Philippines. And the lower one we have the Batas at Bayan. So for the regional trial courts, guys, it is also known as the second level courts. Unsay kalainan nila sa Court of Appeals? Ang Court of Appeals is second highest court. Pag abot sa regional trial court, ang second level courts. Okay? So lahi ang level, lahi pud ang highest court. So, are the highest regular trial courts in the Philippines. It was formerly called as the Court of First Instances since the Spanish era. When the court covers two or more municipalities, it is called a municipal circuit trial court. So kung kani siya nga regional trial court, nagakuha ni siya or naga-cover ni siya og duha ka municipality or two or more municipalities kasi meron tayong mga gagmay lang nga municipalities. So they are called the municipal circuit trial court. For this one, guys, we have the regional trial court. Look at the picture. So as you can see here, this is an example of a regional trial court. And then, this is an example in the province of Bulacan. So, ang tawag ani sa ilaha is RTC or the Regional Trial Courts. So, before maabot sa Court of Appeals, moagi siya sa Regional Trial Court. Now, let's go to the next one. So, now we have the People's Advocate. So, unsa ni siya? When we say people advocates, guys, in Tagalog, this is also known as the Sandigan Bayan. So it is a special affiliate collegial court in the Philippines that has jurisdiction over criminal and civil cases involving graft and corrupt practices and other offenses committed by public officers and employees, including those in government-owned and government-controlled corporations. Kasi meron tayong mga government-controlled corporations just like the DBP, Development Bank of the Philippines, that is government controlled corporation, pati ang Land Bank of the Philippines, and many more. So daghan og negosyo ang atoang ang atoang government. So, mo na siya ang ginatawag na tuog Sandigan Bayan. It is because tanang empleyado sa gobyerno, it is, for example, politics, mga politicians, mga empleyado of the DPWH, empleyado of Pag-ibig, empleyado of any other government-owned establishment. So, muagi dire kung naa sila nabuhat na sala, naa sila mga kaso, so muagi dire sa Sandigan Bayan. For example, graft and corruption, just like what happened sa case ni Gloria Arroyo. So, ang Sandigan Bayan ang nag-trial or naglitis sa iyaha. And then, let's go to the next one. So, the next one is the Court of Appeals. So, the Court of Appeals, guys, talks about or its work is more about sa tax. So, mo po siya, in the Filipino, we call it as hukuman ng paghahabol sa buwis. Hukuman ng paghahabol sa buwis. Kasi we have a lot of businessmen nga kanang wala nagabayad og tax or wala nagabayad og tarong og tax. So that's why they are the one who will investigate kung ang isa ka corporation, isa ka business establishment is wala nagabayad og buwis or wala tarong og bayad og buwis. So this is also a special court na limited lang ang iyahang jurisdiction and has the same level with the Court of Appeals. So, although naa sila the same level, so ka-level lang sila sa Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, and then the Court of Tax Appeals. So the court consists of 8 associate justices. So ang kaning Court of Tax Appeals na siya 8 associate justices and na ay isa ka presiding justice. So that is for the Court of Tax Appeals. So ang ilang focus is dito sa mga taxpayers if they are really paying the right amount of tax or naaba sila yung mga kaso regarding tax. Like for example, tax evasions and a lot more. Now, let's go to the next one. So, mao po ni siya ang sa mga Muslim nga district courts, guys. So, equivalent to the regional trial courts, guys, in the rank are the Shari'a district courts, which were established in certain specified provinces in Mindanao where the Code of Muslim Personal Laws of the Philippines is being enforced. So, ang Muslim code, guys, like for example, the ARMM, the Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, they also have the trial courts or regional trial courts, pero lahi ang tawag sa ilaha. That is the Sharia district courts kasi meron silang different set of law. They have the Code of Muslims Personal Law. So nasa lagi na protektahan kung sa ang mga lalaki, mga Christians nga men, dili sila pwede mga sawa og daghan. Sa sa Muslim nga code or personal laws, pwede sila mangasawa og daghan. So that's why we cannot dili na to masampahan ang Muslim nga lalaki na kanang nga concubinage or kanang pagpanapaw because they have the ability, they have the right to own and marry women basta kaya lang jud nila buhion. And then, Sharia District Court is of limited jurisdiction. Pero, limited lang ang jurisdiction sa Sharia District Courts. So, especially, that is also, created under the Presidential Decree number 1083. So, the Sharia District Court has no jurisdiction over real action where one of the parties is not a Muslim. So, meaning, dili pwede ma-apply ang Code of Muslim Personal Laws if isa sa mga victims or isa sa mga murderer is not a Muslim. So regardless of the fact that it decided the action applying the provision of the Civil Code. So, mao po ni siya ang bantayanan, no? Because if you are not a Muslim, if you are a Christian, ug nakasala ka sa isa ka Muslim, then you are not under the Code of Muslim Personal Laws, but under ka sa law or balaod sa Regional Trial Court. Now, let's go to the due process of law. So, for the due process of law, guys, so, kuan man jud no, wala man jud above the law. So, we need to have jud due process. So, basin pag dato ka, mapobre ka, or you are in a very low state of, ikaw ang kuan, pinakamubo, grado, walay pinag-aralan, walay property, servant lang ka, basin pag unsa na ang imuhang na-attain or unsa pa ang level sa imong kinabuhi, we need or all of us have the right to due process. So, due process, guys, it is known as no person shall deprive of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That's why kung nakay makuha nga mga criminal, dili pa na siya diretso nga matawag nimo sila nga mga criminals. But still, we can still, sila, mga victim or maybe suspect. So, suspect pa lang na sila or maybe victim. So, that's why, after sa due process of law, di na makaingon na siya is a murderer, siya is a criminal. So, dapat moagi pa siya og due process of law before you can tell that a person is really a sinner or committed sin under the law. So it also implies, guys, and comprehends the administration of laws equally applicable to all under established rules which do not violate fundamental principles of private rights and in a competent tribunal processing jurisdiction of the cause and proceeding upon justice. So, dapat naagyod siya'y due process. Kung Muslim siya, so iagi siya sa Sharia district courts or dapat musunod sa Code of Muslim Personal Laws. And then for Christian, so moagi siya gyud sa tama nga due process. Like for example, dili ka makaingon nga isa ka tawo is murderer kung wala pa siya niagi og due process. Now, let's go to the next one. So we have the Lupon Tagapamayapa. So look at the picture here. So this is the signage of the Lupon Tagapamayapa. So mo ni ilahang guys. Mo ni siya ato ang ginagamit nga nila. Si tawag ilang signage or this is their code. Mo ni ilahang timailhan nga Lupon Tagapamayapa na siya nga establishment or building. So, as example here, we have the Barangay Obrero Kalbayog. So, naapod tayo mga Lupon Tagapamayapa. So, sa Lupon Tagapamayapa office, guys, we have the Lupon Chairman, we have the Lupon Secretary, and we have the Lupon members. So, the barangay justice system, guys, has its own, Lupon Tagapamayapa. This is a system created by the government in order to solve disputes within the barangay. So, under lang sa barangay level, before going into court, these disputes are usually created between relatives within the barangay. So, katong mga within barangay jurisdiction, so, iagi sa to ani, isettle sa. Like, for example, kanang nag-away mo sa inyong silingan. So, you have conflicts. So, iagi sa siya og purok, chairman, and then we have the barangay. So, mao na siya nga, ni mag-away, mingon na, ipabarangay ta ka, ipabarangay. Which is wrong kasi pa man, purok pa man, and then after ana is barangay. So, ang tawag ana sa ilaha is Dalupon Tagapamayapa. So, sila ang naga-litis or sila ang nag-aayos sa problema within the barangay. So, kung dili gid siya di gid siya maayos within the barangay level, so mao na siya magsampa na og kaso ang different parties. So, that is for the inclusion of the judicial or Philippine judicial branch. So, we have learned about the Philippine judiciary and its functions. We also learned about the Supreme Court. We also learned about the Court of Appeals, the regional trial courts, the people advocates or Sandigan Bayan. We also learned about the Court of Tax Appeals, Shari'a District Courts, the Due Process of Law, and the Lupon Tagapamayapa. So, always remember, guys, to do your best. Thank you so much for listening. Always remember to read and review your lesson. Try also to research some of the components of our lesson nga wala nimo na sabtan, and then you can also message me, PM me, or call me through my phone or through my Facebook Messenger if you have any questions, clarifications, and ano kanang violent reaction. So thank you so much, guys. I hope you learned a lot from our lesson today. Have a great day and see you again. Always remember to make your parents proud. Have a great day, students. Bye.